What's up everyone, my name's PT from Charlie Intel. With me today I've got the one and only Ali A, BennyCentral and Wizzite, and we're going to be talking about skill-based matchmaking in Advanced Warfare. So before we go anywhere, how are you doing guys?
Very good, thank you.
Not too bad.
Sick. So to make this as constructive as possible, I'm going to quickly run through some of the comments made by Marco Condre relating to skill-based matchmaking in Advanced Warfare. This was actually released on the Call of Duty website. And given that skill-based matchmaking, should I say, is literally one of the most discussed topics of Advanced Warfare in the Call of Duty community, I guess it was probably right to make a video and talk about it. So the 4 or 5 comments that he made were the first one being player connection to the host always takes priority over skill in the matchmaking process. Second one was skill as a component of matchmaking is important. We believe that it adds a level of fairness in the mechanism for team balance and individual enjoyment. The system we have today is, to all intents and purposes, identical to what Activision has always had in place with the same matchmaking parameters as previous Call of Duty titles. He then went on to say, the system is designed to put you in the best match with balanced teams composed of players of varying skill from your geographic region. We consistently look at millions of points of player and match data, and kill to death ratios are up across every band in Advanced Warfare. And he also goes on to say, we've also noticed that some players have experienced fringe cases like being matched with someone in another country. Much of this comes down to the pool of people online and which modes are being played at any point in time. So should we start?
A lot of technicalities, mate.
Yeah. That's pretty full on. But again, this is all available on the Call of Duty website, and I will put the link in the description below. So if you want to check that out, be sure to do so. But let's kind of run through what is your general consensus on skill-based matchmaking in Advanced Warfare, guys? I don't know if Ali, if you want to start.
So obviously quite a prominent factor into the matchmaking system, despite which order it's used in the way that you search for a lobby. It's obviously there, and it's obviously prevalent to a point where, you know, it's changing the way that you play multiplayer. And I think, you know, obviously it's going to be more of a topic for YouTubers, because we're the kind of people that try and go for those outstanding gameplays that are hard to get. And with the implementation of skill-based matchmaking, it makes those rare games harder to get. So, you know, it's a pain for us, I guess. Personally, you know, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's definitely, you can tell, but it's in the game. It's in the game in a big way. I can see why, for example, the lower skill players would enjoy it more, because it means they aren't getting trounced on by those higher skill players. But I think something that I always come back to is that everybody starts off as a bad player. And if I didn't see those great players going like 30-1 when I was going like 1-30 when I first started playing, then I'd have nothing to aim for to become a better player. So I think skill-based matchmaking sort of removes that and makes the whole system a little bit sort of like almost false. Like you're putting all these bad players together that aren't experiencing how good players can be. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think you're going to have mixed opinions everywhere, but I think personally, from a YouTuber's perspective, it's not the greatest thing in the world. I don't know what the other guys think.
What about you, Benny?
Well, like, I think everyone's like seen me tweeting about it and everything like that. It's generally frustrating, because I always enjoyed, like, in previous Call of Duties, always going for like those really high gameplays, like going for those 200 kills and stuff like that. And because of skill-based matchmaking in this game, it's pretty much impossible to do. And like I fully understand why they've done it for like Ali was saying, for like new players getting into it. But it's one of those things, whatever you end up doing, if you play against people who are better than you, it's the only way to improve. And I think like the next generation of Call of Duty players, whatever, are not going to be able to progress as quickly, if that makes sense. Just because it's quite frustrating. Because it's also brought in all these people like kind of cheating in ways like reverse boosting, doing session joining, and all this sort of stuff that kind of gives the people an unfair advantage, and it takes a bit of the enjoyment of the whole like Call of Duty experience, and like it's in the game in a huge way. And it just completely changes how you approach Call of Duty now. Like if you want to just throw on a sniper, for example, in a game of Call of Duty, if you've been playing like the Battle 27 ASM1 and are in the upper skill brackets, you are going to do absolutely atrocious. You're going to be going like 1-40, 1-30, because at the top level, I don't know what it's like between like the middle levels and like lower skill brackets, but at the top level, it becomes the majority of guns become completely unusable. And you have to be using the best loadouts and the best setups. And I think that's the problem with skill-based matchmaking. You can't alter how you play. So if you want to kind of like have a bit of fun, like remember like in previous games, like Ali, I did it with you, we'd like hop on and do like knife games, like knife only and stuff like that.
Yeah, messing around.
Yeah, if you're to do that in this game and you've been like playing your best, playing at the best that you possibly can, especially if you're like a YouTuber going for those gameplays and stuff like that, and you're trying to get as many gameplays to make videos, you suddenly go, all right, let's have a bit of a laugh, let's throw on like sniper only, or let's go knife only. You just suddenly cannot do well at all. Like, I can remember a couple weeks ago I was using a shotgun, and it was just like, this is impossible, I've got to go do this against bots, just because it was impossible to use. But yeah, that's my opinion anyway.
And Wizzite, what do you think?
Well, Ben touched on the subject of playing against better people is how you get better, which I fully agree with. But my take on it is actually quite simple. Sometimes I like to just get on and just play against, random people, not skill-based people. And then sometimes I feel like playing against skill-based people, so I play in league play. So I personally would like to see pubs just be random people, and then league play be skill-based people.
Yeah. It's funny you guys touched on that actually, because I was going to mention that. So, for example, let's say you're new to Call of Duty, you're not very good. Skill-based matchmaking technically is going to be to your benefit, simply because you'll need match with other people who are not so good as well. But at the same time, should it not be that you should be put up against a random pool of players, some who of which are really, really good, so then it kind of forces you to become better at the game and ultimately enjoy the game more? Like, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
But it's the thing. They've also, like, I can remember at World War. Remember they had the like the new player playlist. I can't remember what it was called. Like
boot camp, I think, was it?
Yeah, boot camp.
Oh, yeah.
Where you, for the first 20 ranks, you played against people who are brand new to the game.
The best lobbies in the world.
Yeah, so it was literally heaven. Like, if you hopped into that, you're like, oh my god, this is great. Make a new account every day. But like you did that kind of introduced you to the game before getting thrown in to like the deep end, to say. And like it's the funnest way to experience as well. At any game or anything you've ever done, you always look up at the people who are doing the best.
Yeah.
Like, and you want to kind of improve that, and you look at what they're doing. Like, I can remember, like, when I first started, like, back in Call of Duty 4, I wouldn't be doing the best. I'd see what other people are doing. I'd see, all right, so he's using this weapon. Okay, so maybe I should give this a go. Okay, they're kind of, like, holding these control points. They're using these positions. If you're just playing against people who are completely new to the game, are not very good, they're all going to be running around like headless chickens, and there's no way for you to improve without watching YouTube content or anything like that. You can't pick it up and kind of like go, oh, that guy's doing that, he's doing really well, I'll go give that a go. That's the issue with it. And like I always personally enjoyed coming up against people who are like of random skill levels. What I always enjoyed, because you never knew what you were going to come up against. Like now, Advanced Warfare, all I know is I'm going to be coming up against 9 people or in Ground War who are all really good players, and the map just becomes unplayable because every route just gets completely blocked up. There's a reason competitive Call of Duty is 4v4. It's because if Call of Duty you die so quickly, if you go down a certain route, you're going to get taken out just because of the time to kill in this game. And if everyone's locking on, not missing any bullets, 9v9, you can't move, and it just becomes a camp fest.
Yeah. So I guess we would generally disagree with the comment that for all intents and purposes, the matchmaking parameters are exactly the same as previous Call of Duty titles, right?
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yes. You wouldn't. Okay, fair enough. Okay, I mean, Call of Duty Ghosts was quite different, to be honest. That was only a year ago. And then looking on to the whole kill to death ratios are up across every band in Advanced Warfare. Are your kill to death ratios up by any chance?
No.
Okay.
It's gone dramatically down. Dramatically.
Is that because you're being matched with people who are of the same skill level as you, and for that reason they're just destroying you in some instances?
I think you kind of have to play differently to what you played before in previous titles as well, though. I think it kind of a bit of both.
Yeah.
I think like in previous Call of Duty games, right, you'd go into multiplayer and you know that you have a chance of finding that dream lobby, or you'll have a normal game and it will be fine. But you'd have a better chance of getting those great games where you're getting crazy KDs which bump your stats up. Whereas in Advanced Warfare, the likelihood of getting that dream lobby is almost not there. Like you're going to be put into games with very similar players over and over and over again, and you're removing that potential of having a crazy game that you can go and say to your friends like, oh dude, I went like 42-2, because like it's just not going to happen because of the way that the skill-based matchmaking is implemented. So I think it sort of takes away that sort of potential fun factor of getting a really fun game because of how serious every single game is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of what Call of Duty was all about, wasn't it? You jump into a game full of completely random selection of players, and then just go at it, and that'd be it.
But that was fun to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know some people, like maybe the newer players, that wasn't exactly fun. But going back to what Ben said, playing against those good players, kind of like you can learn from that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, really, they're kind of protecting I guess we could say it's the majority of players though, because at the end of the day, Call of Duty players, the majority of Call of Duty players are more casual players. I think this was touched on like for the last couple of years. A couple of like the lead developers or whatever from some of the studios have said that it's kind of strange how Call of Duty has this small minority of a hardcore audience like us, for example, who play Call of Duty quite often. And you have the big majority of people who just go out into a shop on a random day, pick up Call of Duty because hey, I haven't got this game yet, let's try it out. They go home, they're not really into the whole let's get the best classes and stuff like that. So I guess that's the kind of audience they're trying to protect, and thus match you up with people with the similar skill. It's kind of difficult. It's whether they cater to the bigger audience or the general casual audience, or cater to the more vocal audience, which is of course us, who
we're always going to be shouting up about stuff. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's the only thing. I guess that's the one thing that a lot of us forget, because the reason we forget it is because we're actually talking about it in the first place.
But you then have to remember that we all started in the casual player kind of mindset as well. We all got into Call of Duty at the same point, and then we got played, and then we get to the point, like the skill level you get to is from a period of time. And it's also like, I was thinking back, like to what Ali said, like the big fun point is when you go like get that 42 and 2. But in this game, it's like competitive. It's like professional Call of Duty is a perfect example. You will never see someone go off and get like 40 and 3. It's because Call of Duty's got such a small skill gap, in the sense that once you get to the top, there's not much. It's just small, minute decisions that make the big difference. And you can't make those right all the time. And the thing is, like pubs, you wouldn't always come up against those top level skill players, so you could get away with small mistakes. But skill based matchmaking doesn't allow you to do that. So going like 45, like 50 and 30 is a good game.
So, I think one point that's just come to mind when Benny mentioned it, like we all started off bad players. Like I think we forget that we actually started off as bad players quite a long time ago, when the series was fairly new, and like the general skill level was probably a lot lower back then. And I think as the years have progressed and the game's become more popular, generally players are better, which means that potentially newer players are put off more by joining in games that have completely filled with players that know what they're doing. Maybe they'll only play multiplayer once and be like, screw this, I'm not good enough, and I'd have to put years of practice in to get as good as these guys, and then to leave multiplayer. So I think Call of Duty have realised that this game's been out for a long time, and maybe generally the skill level is quite high, and they still want new players to come and join in. So maybe that's why they're trying to sort of cater for the new audience as well. So I mean, it's hard, right? From our perspectives, we just want to have fun games and destroy everyone. But obviously, from a developer's perspective, they want to make it adequate and fun for everyone. So it's hard to please everyone.
True. It's true, because I think it's the thing now. Like we're so used to being able to get those games, and now suddenly it's just like going, oh, okay. And it's true. Like as a new player, I wouldn't enjoy it if I was going 10 and 50. It wouldn't be a fun experience. So I can see the reasons there is, but I think there needs to be something that shows what skill bracket you're in, rather than all being hidden. Like whether they brought platinum in, like so you work your way up through like even if it's pubs or ranking system, you get your little symbol saying, all right, you're a platinum player. So you're going up against other platinum players. Or
that's an interesting point, because like a lot of games that are big at the moment, like the PC games, like all public lobbies still have ranking systems, which means that like almost competitive is very similar to public. So maybe that's the direction they're trying to move in, is like making public lobbies more sort of competitive based. I don't know. It's an interesting point. Maybe the next Call of Duty will have public ranking systems, so you know how good you are. I don't know. It's an interesting one.
It's funny we talk about this actually though, because it's such a big subject and actually quite an easy fix. Like we were talking about earlier, how World at War had its own playlist for new players and so on. They could essentially just make another playlist where skill-based matchmaking is enabled, and another one where it's disabled. So if you just want to play with a random pool of people, you just join that. And if you want to play with people with a similar skill level, I guess there's league play for that as well. But either way, it's like it's a very, very simple fix to please the masses. But I guess there's more to it than that.
And that like boot camp playlist, like if it is 20 ranks, that's quite a long time, or like you could play for quite a long time before you're level 20, so you could get a good amount of experience, because every time when you pick up a new game, you're never the best at it. So if you do play boot camp, 20 ranks is quite a fair amount of time to get used to the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
and then you know at least what you need to do when you get into a game
and you've
against
unlocked
good
a few
players.
guns and a few attachments and perks and all that. So
what are our opinions on reverse boosting? I know a couple of YouTubers have raised their comments regarding reverse boosting and how if you are a reverse booster, you are an asshole.
I wonder who did that.
What do we think about reverse boosting, guys? Because I know, of course, if you do create a new account or a new Xbox Live account, for example, you are matched with low-level players. So for someone who is interested in doing that, not that I'm necessarily advertising it, essentially, if you want to play with a low skill level, you can essentially create a new account, and that essentially backs up that skill-based matchmaking is very much very much relevant within Advanced Warfare right now. So what do you think, guys, about about reverse boosting?
I just find it funny that all the trick shotters got banned for jumping off and killing themselves.
Suicide.
It's like, to be fair, it is cheating. Like, I can remember at the start of the game, like, I'm always interested in who's pulling what gameplays and everything like that. You kind of follow it because that's how you kind of discover new players as well. Is because like, oh, this guy's suddenly getting all this stuff, and I was like going, it is impossible for me to get a DNA bomb, and then suddenly all these people were like pulling out double DNA bombs, and I was like, how in the world are they doing it? This is impossible. Just because of how skill-based matchmaking is thing. And then that's when I found out about skill-based matchmaking, and it kind of took a lot away from me about gameplays on YouTube, and I can't really trust gameplays on YouTube anymore. I'm not sure if you guys agree with me in this, but you'll see like a 200 plus gameplay and you instantly presume it's reverse boosted. It's such a level, it's cheating the system effectively, as making sure you get those dream lobbies that you came against once in a blue moon in like previous Call of Duties, like Black Ops 2, whatever. You'd come up against those lobbies, but it's just cheating, and it does kind of like ruin the game experience of what like Sledgehammer have tried to create, and it kind of like unleveled the game feel. And I know a lot because I tested it in December, and it was ridiculous. I went from not being able to get a DNA bomb to getting like 20 in 2 hours. It's such a vast difference, and that's how like everyone started realizing skill-based matchmaking is such a big factor. But it is a scummy tactic, and it's like that's my opinion. Anyway.
I mean, how I see it, the reason why we have skill-based matchmaking, or at least why its kind of presence has been increased and it's far more strict now, is the fact that we have exosuits. It's as simple as that. I think, given the fact that being in the right place at the right time, your movement and your reaction and shooting on target and so on, now we have exosuits. For the less skilled players, that's just another hurdle. And it's just far more difficult for them. So I guess that's the reason why they introduced skill-based matchmaking, to try and level out the fact that you're going to have some people who are going to be amazing with their exosuits. Like even the pro players now, they've got all these kind of these chained movements, and they're going across the map from A to B extremely quickly. I know it was raised a while back, and I think another YouTuber kind of caught onto it. But either way, yeah. So it's kind of this mixture of exo movement and the changes they made to weapons and so on. I guess that's the main focus as to why they've made it more strict, because there's no doubt it's more strict in this game. Full stop. I think it's almost wrong to say that it's the same matchmaking parameters as previous Call of Duty titles, because we all know it's not the case. Like even I know the case, and that's not the case. And to be honest, I don't really play Call of Duty that much. And I remember that you could go into like a lobby on Black Ops or Black Ops 2, like Nuketown or whatever, for example, and you just have some players who get absolutely demolished, like 100% demolished.
I remember before Advanced Warfare came out, I was like, yes, this exosuit is going to be the game changer. Yeah. It's going to be like it's going to increase that skill gap and refresh Call of Duty, because like I guess you kind of feel in like Ghost that like there wasn't much of a skill gap. It was small, right? It was maybe a better aim here, better positioning here. But with these exosuits, it was going to be real different. But then all that happened is they introduced exosuits, then they put skill-based matchmaking on top of it. So the skill gap just got squished back down even smaller, because you were still playing against people that were similar standard to you. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, when you make a new account, there's definitely like you can tell that skill-based matchmaking's in there. On PlayStation, when I made my second account to get more supply drops, like the first 3 games when I was in the very first lobby, like I was like, holy cow, like you can tell that if people don't get the exosuits, that they're just gonna get demolished. And like it was very obvious, but I don't know, it seems weird to add something like exosuits and then sort of counter it almost by putting everyone together that's sort of a similar standard. I think it'd be fun, just I don't know.
For sure. So if we were to kind of conclude on the discussion then, what do you guys think needs to be done or needs to be introduced or changed to make it like a better experience? Considering the fact, of course, this is such a huge subject within the Call of Duty community right now. Like, given, of course, Charlie Intel, like the comment section is just SBMM, SBMM, SBMM everywhere. And people are annoyed about it, and it's kind of brought Sledgehammer Games to actually release a statement regarding it on their website. So obviously it's a big deal, and they're aware of it being a big deal. Like, what do you think needs to happen? What do you think needs to be changed, or how do you think they can improve it?
I think the reality of it here is that like if they need something big to make them change it, and if they did change it and they saw negative effects, because of course these guys have every single in-game stat they could ever ask for. They like KD ratios for different stat brackets, the favorite guns used, everything. They know everything. So if they changed it for like 1 week and completely removed skill-based matchmaking, and their stats were showing that people were playing for less time, like KDs were just getting screwed up, then they'd be like, this is not working, and they change it back again. So it doesn't matter what our opinions is, it's what their overview of the whole Call of Duty community is and how people are playing. And if people, so I don't know, like it's hard. There isn't really an answer. Like if we want it to be changed, doesn't matter. It's like what stats are they getting from their end that are making them sort of make these decisions. But I don't know what the other guys think.
Yeah. It's interesting you said that, actually, just really quick. Like they have actually stated that KD is up across the board. So I guess on their end, it's actually a benefit to the whole Call of Duty community and player base.
Yeah, it's because you don't have those people completely destroying people's KD, like dropping 200 kills in a single game. But it's true. Like it's all about creating the best possible experience for the most amount of people possible. And I think that sometimes like as YouTubers, it's something we forget. Sledgehammer are trying to make the best experience for as many people as they possibly can, not just the small niches. And I think that's what skill-based matchmaking does in some senses, but it also takes away a bit of the Call of Duty experience that we've experienced, like being brought up and falling in love with the game and like series. And I think there just needs to be a couple little small changes. Like Ali, like what you were saying about them taking it away for a week, like do a week test. If it completely just takes away how many people stop playing the game, just bring it back and reintroduce it.
Or chuck it in another playlist, create a temporary playlist that we can all jump into and
going back
see how many people play it.
Going back to what Ali, sorry, Ben.
Yeah, go for it, James.
Going back to what Ali said about changing it for a week, in the competitive community, a lot of people are complaining about, I believe, Stim and Cloak, and then they changed it for one tournament, and then I think it was Michael Condrey tweeted out saying that we've realized that having that in the game isn't actually exactly great, so we've decided to move it and remove it from the rule set, and now everybody seems to be enjoying competitive a lot more, especially the pro players anyway. So doing that, I think it was
UMG. It was after UMG.
It's the one after Columbus, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they had a
UMG Orlando, I believe it was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think doing that 1 week test of not having it in the game and then seeing you like the stats and who's playing for this time or whatever, like exactly what Ali said, I think that could be good, because without them testing it, they'll never know, and they could actually improve on something that they thought is already great, but they could actually make that better.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, there we have it, guys. We've had a talk about skill-based matchmaking in Advanced Warfare. I guess it's like a general consensus towards it being that we can see where they're coming from. They can see they're just trying to benefit the majority of players as opposed to the minority of players. But perhaps there are some tweaks they could make and so on. But anyway, if you are listening and watching this podcast or video, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. So if you're for or against skill-based matchmaking, let us know in the comment section below, and we'll be sure to take on comments. We might do a follow-up video in the future relating to it, perhaps even get someone from Sledgehammer Games, who knows. Guys, appreciate you watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. See you all guys in the next video.
Boom.
Subscribe!